So now we're going to jump straight in and get designing the first logo, which is the one in the shape of a star. So in Illustrator we go to File, New to start a new project, clicking OK. I'm also going to go to View and I'm going to hide artboards to get rid of that paper outline of the A4 sheet. I'm going to ensure that Smart Guides are on, and I'm going to File and Place my scan, locating the image of the scan, clicking Place. So that places the scan onto the canvas. I'm going to make that a little bit larger. Now at this point we can go into the Layers panel and lock the image of the scan, the sketch, or before we do that we can just isolate the first point, the star logo rather, and hold Shift and click the sketch behind, and if we go to Object, Clip and Mask and Make, we can isolate that logo and have no distractions for the rest of the logos which we aren't working on at the moment. So now that we've isolated this logo sketch, we'll make it a little bit larger and we'll go into the Layers panel and we'll click Lock. With the image of the sketch locked down, we'll have no concern about it moving around as we're designing. So to begin, we obviously need to draw a surfboard shape. By the way, we're going to focus on this design, which is stacked surfboards, rather than the one on the left, which appears just to be a star with no relevance to surfboards. So this is the more pleasing design solution. So we'll focus on this. So to design, to do the shape of the surfboard, we'll choose a prominent colour, red, for the pen tool, which I've just selected, and we'll click on its top point, and we'll click on the bottom whilst holding Shift, and we can drag this out to the side whilst holding Shift, and we get that shape. To seal this shape, we click the anchor point at the bottom and we click the one at the top. This closes the path. So if we move the shape out the way of the sketch, we click upon it whilst holding Shift and Alt, and we drag over to the right, this replicates the shape. If we right click now, go to Transform, then Reflect, and we click on Horizontal, sorry, that's incorrect. We click on Vertical, the vertical radio button is selected, and we click on OK. This will flip it and we can now join it to the original shape. So holding Shift, ensuring that we turned on Smart Guides originally in View, Smart Guides. If we click on the edge of the path, whilst holding Shift, clicking the left mouse button, dragging across, we can see that we get an intersect. Letting go of that, clicking the canvas, we have the shape. So that the shape is a whole rather than two pieces, we click, drag to highlight, and if we go in the Pathfinder panel and we click top right and make compound shape and click expand, this will make this a single shape. Alternatively, as I've taught previously, to join two shapes we can also use the merge option in the Pathfinder panel. So to give an example of that, we'll press Ctrl and Z to undo back to the original state where these are two shapes separated, and we'll merge those once again, and we'll click and drag to highlight both, and we'll go to merge in the Pathfinder panel and you'll see it achieves the same thing. So with that done, we're going to now replicate the surfboard so that we can create a star formation. So that we can see the vector shapes more clearly, I'm going to unlock the layer where the sketch is on, and I'm going to turn that down on the opacity in the transparency panel by 50%. So this will give us clear view of the vector shapes. So highlighting that again, I'll lock that down once more. So now we'll overlay this surfboard on top of the shape, and I want to make that a little bit more narrow. And I want to take down the opacity of the vector shape so I can see the sketch behind. Obviously the refined vector shape isn't going to match the sketch perfectly, and there will be times where I want to deviate away from the actual sketch to make improvements. Having placed that there, actually I've decided that I want the surfboard to be a little bit fatter. So now we'll press Alt, Shift, left mouse button and drag across to replicate, and now we're going to place another one to make the right hand of the star. And we'll make that a different colour. We'll choose green for this one. Now this is just a rough layout for now. We'll make the final adjustments when all the surfboards are in place. So we'll do the Control Alt left mouse button and drag again, and we'll do a right click, and then we'll go to reflect and OK to flip that across, holding Shift to keep it on the horizontal, left mouse button we drag across to put this one in place, and we'll colour this one purple by clicking purple in the swatches panel. Do the same again. And we'll rotate this, and we'll place there, making that orange. Alt and Shift again, left mouse button drag across to replicate, right mouse button reflect, with vertical selected for the axis we click OK, and we'll drag this into place, and we'll make this a different colour. We'll choose a dark blue. Actually we'll select pink, which gives it a better contrast against the rest. Now these surfboards need to be arranged in a more pleasing manner so that it actually looks like a star. So we'll see this more clearly. We'll click the visibility, which is denoted by an I, to turn off the sketch layer. So now we're just left with a surfboard star. So we'll start to manipulate each so that we get a flow. You'll see that I'm matching this curve with the curve of the surfboard on the left, and if we zoom in with the magnifier tool, we'll see if that's done nicely. I will group these two bits by clicking left mouse button with Shift held down. We go to Object Group. Now we want to hold Shift and also click the surfboard up top, and we go to Align, the Align panel, and under Align Objects we click Horizontal Align Center, and this will center this surfboard with the two surfboards beneath. Now we'll make the additional adjustments to the bottom surfboards. We want to highlight both so that any changes we make to either reflects the other. So we want the curve of this surfboard to match the curve of the green. The curve of the yellow surfboard also matching the curve of the green. And you see the red looks out, so we do need to move this, which should be centered with all. So to get everything centered, we highlight the two bottom surfboards, object and group, and these two are grouped again, object, group. Then we highlight all, and then we go to align objects horizontal, align center. Okay, so here's our icon for the logo design, but it's still completely unrefined. You'll see a shape at the bottom here which shouldn't be there. This surfboard doesn't flow with the top surfboard, neither does the bottom. So we're going to replicate this with Alt Shift left mouse button once again. This is just so we can compare or go back to something easily in case we make a significant amount of errors. So with that done, we'll focus upon this one on the right. I'm going to enlarge it slightly. Okay, the name of the company is First Point Surfing. So I'd like this surfboard on the vertical to act as the number 1. So first and foremost, I'm going to bring this to the front with object arrange bring to front, and I'm going to move it up so that this bit at the bottom isn't protruding. So holding shift to keep it on the vertical, left mouse button, we click upwards. And using the arrow keys for minor adjustments on the keyboard. And there we have it. Now, so that this logo can function as a black and white logo or single colour, its shapes need to be outlined or they need to be separated. To do this, we're going to ensure that all elements are aligned to centre by grouping the pairs by going to object group and selecting all, then going to align objects horizontal, align centre. It appears all are centered. So now we're going to highlight all again, and now in the Pathfinder panel, to separate these shapes, we're going to go to divide, which is beneath the word Pathfinders. With that done, all of these shapes are now separated. Before we move shapes, we're going to switch on the grid so that we ensure that each shape is in alignment. So we go to View, Show Grid. First shape we're going to move in the star is the surfboard to the left. So if we click upon the shape, we go to Object and Ungroup to separate the shapes. And we click the surfboard to the left. I do a count with the left arrow key and the up arrow key in this case. So I'm going to move this across 20 presses of the left arrow key. That's that done. And I'm going to use the up key for 10 presses. So I'm going to do the same for this. And that's that done. When we come to the bottom shape, the pink surfboard, you'll see that we have two pieces. This is because the divide has also cut the overlaps of this surfboard, the purple one. So to remedy this, we ensure that all of those shapes are highlighted, selected, and we can go to Pathfinder panel and merge. So that makes it a single shape. Also do the same for this one, which has been affected in the same way. We go to Pathfinder, then merge. So now it's time to move the bottom sections. So with the down arrow key, I'm going to estimate 20 key presses. $20 down, 16 across. Now, we're going to make this logo black and white because the only reason we're working in colour at the moment is to differentiate each shape which is previously overlapping. So we'll select all, click black. We want to make this shape a single shape also because it's being affected by the split, the divide function rather. And we go to merge once again in the Pathfinder panel. Still a couple more shapes that need to be joined. Merge once again. If we select these shapes holding shift and then we go to object group, we can take out any small errors in graphics and we can highlight this and we can merge. And we click the icon next to the original shapes and there we have it once more. Now the gap in between the top surfboard and the bottom surfboard is too much, so I'd like to make further adjustments. Object ungroup, selecting both of those with shift held down, we can bring these up. And using the keyboard up arrow, I've made that adjustment. I want to bring this surfboard up also. Using the keyboard up arrow, highlight all group just to keep it together. Turn off grid, view, hide grid, and there we have our finished symbol. As you work on your logo designs, however, you might see that things need to be fixed further. So in this case, I've just noticed that we have a stray path with an anchor point in a place that shouldn't be there. So with this one on the left, perfect, at the bottom, I'm simply going to delete this and replicate this across with the Alt, Shift, left mouse button, transform, reflect, vertical and OK. Now we could start from here and do the key counts as before, however I'm just going to estimate. And there we have it. To be extra cautious about perfection, we can do the following. We can highlight the entire shape, go to our Pathfinder panel, click top right, click make compound shape, then click expand. Now this will be considered as a single shape rather than 5 shapes. With that done, we can now select the square tool, ensuring smart guides is switched on, drag a square over the star. You can see the center point of the star denoted by a green line. If you let go of the left mouse button there, we can click the square and the star holding shift, and we go to our Pathfinder panel and we can select minus front. So this gives us half of a star. Now we can replicate this half of a star, drag it across with Shift Alt left mouse button, right click, transform once again, reflect, vertical, OK, and holding shift we drag it across the vertical and we meet it with this half of a star. Now if we go to Object, Ungroup to separate the shapes, if we highlight both pieces of the top surfboard, we go to our Pathfinder panel and select Merge. That will make it a single shape. So we now have perfect symmetry both on the left and right.